Hello, this is Jonathan Vladimir Howery, and this is Poetry Thursday, where I read from poems that I like. And this is going to be a bit of a longer series focusing on one of my favorite poems of all time, The Ballad of the White Horse by G.K. Chesterton. The poem itself is a sort of historical fiction reimagining of events from the life of King Alfred the Great, who is credited as sort of the first king of a united England. And in particular, he defeated this major marauding army of Norsemen, the Great Heathen Army, under Guthrum, a Danish chieftain. This chieftain and his army had defeated the king's father and I think two of his brothers. There have been a number of defeats of the Anglo-Saxons by this Viking army. And so Chesterton has sort of reimagined that in this poem. He does not claim that it is a work of history. It is very much a work of fiction. But it's very inspiring fiction, and it's a very fun read. So for this first section of the poem, I'll be reading the dedication, which is a dedication to his wife, Frances Bogg Chesterton. And I will be reading Book 1 of the poem, The Vision of the King. Enjoy. Of great limbs gone to chaos, a great face turned to night, why bend above a shapeless shroud, seeking in such archaic cloud sight of strong lords in light? Where 7 sunken Englands lie buried one by one, why should one idle spade, I wonder, shake up the dust of thanes like thunder to smoke and choke the sun? In cloud of clay so cast to heaven, what shape shall man discern? These lords may light the mystery of mastery or victory, and these ride high in history, but these shall not return. Gored on the Norman Gonfalon, the golden dragon died. Gored on the Norman Gonfalon, the golden dragon died. We shall not wake with ballad strings the good time of the smaller things. We shall not see the holy kings ride down by Severn side. Stiff, strange, and quaintly coloured as the broidery of Bayeux, the England of that dawn remains. And this of Alfred and the Danes seems like the tales of a whole tribe feigns, too English to be true. Of a good king on an island that ruled once on a time, and as he walked by an apple tree, there came green devils out of the sea, with sea plants trailing heavily and tracks of opal slime. Yet Alfred is no fairy tale. His days as our days ran. He also looked forth for an hour on peopled plains and skies that lower from those few windows in the tower that is the head of man. But who shall look from Alfred's hood or breathe his breath alive? His sentry like a small dark cloud drifts far, it is an eyeless crowd, where the tortured trumpets scream aloud and the dense arrows drive. Lady, by one light only, we look from Alfred's eyes. We know he saw athwart the wreck the sign that hangs about your neck, where one more than Melchizedek is dead and never dies. Therefore I bring these rhymes to you, who brought the cross to me. Since on you flaming without flaw, I saw the sign that Guthrum saw, when he let break his ships of awe and laid peace on the sea. Do you remember when we went, under a dragon moon, amid volcanic tints of night, walked where they fought the unknown fight, and saw black trees on the battle height, black thorn on Ethan dune? And I thought, I will go with you, as a man with God has gone, and wander with a wandering star, the wandering heart of things that are, the fiery cross of love and war that, like yourself, goes on. O go you onward, where you are shall honour and laughter be, past purpled forest and pearled foam, God's winged pavilion free to roam, your face that is a wandering home, a flying home for me. Ride through the silent earthquake lands, wide as a waste is wide, across these days like deserts, when pride and a little scratching pen have dried and split the hearts of men, heart of the heroes, ride. Up through an empty house of stars, being what heart you are, up the inhuman steeps of space as on a staircase go in grace, carrying the firelight on your face beyond the loneliest star. Take these, in memory of the hour we strayed a space from home, and saw the smoke-hued hamlets quaint with Westland king and Westland saint, and watched the western glory faint along the road to Frome. Book 1. The Vision of the King. Before the gods that made the gods had seen their sunrise pass, the white horse of the White Horse Vale was cut out of the grass. Before the gods that made the gods had drunk at dawn their fill, the white horse of the White Horse Vale was hoary on the hill. Age beyond age on British land, aeons on aeons gone, was peace and war in western hills, and the white horse looked on. For the white horse knew England when there was none to know. He saw the first oar break or bend, he saw heaven fall and the world end. Oh God, how long ago! For the end of the world was long ago, and all we dwell today as children of some second birth, like a strange people left on earth after a judgment day. For the end of the world was long ago, when the ends of the world waxed free, when Rome was sunk in a waste of slaves, and the sun drowned in the sea. When Caesar's sun fell out of the sky, and whoso hearkened right could only hear the plunging of the nations in the night. When the ends of the earth came marching in to torch and cresset gleam, and the roads of the world that led to Rome were filled with faces that moved like foam, like faces in a dream. And men rode out of the eastern lands, broad river and burning plain, trees that are Titan flowers to see, and tiger skies striped horribly with tints of tropic rain. Where inns enamelled peaks arise around that inmost one, where ancient eagles on its break, vast as archangels, gather and drink the sacrament of the sun. And men break out of the northern lands, enormous lands alone, where a spell is laid upon life and lust, and the rain is changed to a silver dust, and the sea to a great green stone. And a shape that moveth murkily, in mirrors of ice and night, hath blanched with fear all beasts and birds, as death and a shock of evil words blast a man's hair with white. And the cry of the palms and the purple moons, or the cry of the frost and foam, swept ever around an inmost place, and the din of distant race on race cried and replied round Rome. And there was death on the emperor, and night upon the pope, and Alfred, hiding in deep grass, hardened his heart with hope. A sea folk blinder than the sea broke all about his land, but Alfred up against them bare and gripped the ground and grasped the air, staggered and strove to stand. He bent them back with spear and spade, with desperate dyke and wall, with foemen leaning on his shield and roaring on him when he reeled, and no help came at all. He broke them with a broken sword a little towards the sea, and for 1 hour of panting peace, ringed with a roar that would not cease, with golden crown and girded fleece, made laws under a tree. The Northmen came about our land a Christless chivalry, who knew not of the arch or pen, great, beautiful, half-witted men from the sunrise and the sea. Misshapen ships stood out on the deep, full of strange gold and fire, and hairy men as huge as sin with horned heads came wading in through the long, low sea mire. Our towns were shaken of tall kings with scarlet beards like blood. The world turned empty where they trod. They took the kindly cross of God and cut it up for wood. Their souls were drifting as the sea, in all good towns and lands they only saw with heavy eyes and broke with heavy hands. Their gods were sadder than the sea, gods of a wandering will, who cried for blood like beasts at night, sadly from hill to hill. They seemed as trees walking the earth, as witless and as tall, yet they took hold upon the heavens, and no help came at all. They bred like birds in English woods, they rooted like the rose, when Alfred came to Athelney to hide him from their bows. There was not English armour left, nor any English thing, when Alfred came to Athelney to be an English king. For earthquake swallowing earthquake uprent the Wessex tree. The whirlpool of the pagan sway had swirled his sires as sticks away when a flood smites the sea. And the great kings of Wessex wearied and sank in gore, and even their ghosts in that great stress grew greyer and greyer, less and less, with the lords that died in Lyonesse, and the king that comes no more. And the god of the golden dragon was dumb upon his throne, and the lord of the golden dragon ran in the woods alone. And if ever he climbed the crest of luck and set the flag before, returning as a wheel returns, came ruin and the rain that burns, and all began once more. And naught was left King Alfred but shameful tears of rage, and the island in the river, and the end of all his age. And the island in the river he was broken to his knee, and he read, writ with an iron pen, that God had wearied of Wessex men, and given their country, field and fen, to the devils of the sea. And he saw in a little picture, tiny and far away, his mother, sitting in Egbert's hall, and a book she showed him, very small, where a sapphire Mary sat in stall, with a golden Christ at play. It was wrought in the monk's slow manner, from silver and sanguine shell, where the scenes are little and terrible, keyholes of heaven and hell. And the river island of Athelney, with the river running past, in colours of such simple creed, all things sprang at him, sun and weed, till the grass grew to be grass indeed, and the tree was a tree at last. Fearfully plain the flowers grew, like the child's book to read, or like a friend's face seen in a glass. He looked, and there Our Lady was. She stood and stroked the tall live grass, as a man strokes his steed. Her face was like an open word, where brave men speak and choose. The very colours of her coat were better than good news. She spoke not, nor turned not, nor any sign she cast. Only she stood up, straight and free, between the flowers in Athelney and the river running past. One dim ancestral jewel hung on his ruined armour grey. He rent and cast it at her feet, where, after centuries, with slow feet, men came from hall and school and street, and found it where it lay. Mother of God, the wanderer said, I am but a common king, nor will I ask what saints may ask, to see a secret thing. The gates of heaven are fearful gates, worse than the gates of hell. Not I would break the splendours barred, or seek to know the thing they guard, which is too good to tell. But for this earth most pitiful, this little land I know, if that which is forever is, or if our hearts shall break with bliss, seeing the stranger go, when our last bow is broken, Queen, and our last javelin cast, under some sad green evening sky, holding a ruined cross on high, under warm western grass to lie, shall we come home at last? And a voice came human, but high up, like a cottage climbed among the clouds, or a serf of hut and croft that sits by his hovel fires oft, but hears on his old bare roof aloft a belfry burst in song. The gates of heaven are lightly locked, we do not guard our gain. The heaviest hind may easily come silently and suddenly upon me in a lane. And any little maid that walks in good thoughts apart may break the guard of the three kings and see the dear and dreadful things I hid within my heart. The meanest man in grey fields gone behind the set of sun heareth between star and other star, through the door of the darkness fallen ajar, the counsel eldest of things that are, the talk of the three in one. The gates of heaven are lightly locked, we do not guard our gold. Men may uproot where worlds begin, or read the name of the nameless sin. But if he fail or if he win, to no good man is told. The men of the east may spell the stars and times and triumphs mark, but the men signed of the cross of Christ go gaily in the dark. The men of the east may search the scrolls for sure fates and fame, but the men that drink the blood of God go singing to their shame. The wise men know what wicked things are written in the sky. They trim sad lamps, they touch sad strings, hearing the heavy purple wings, where the forgotten seraph kings still plot how God shall die. The wise men know all evil things under the twisted trees, where the perverse in pleasure pine, and men are weary of green wine and sick of crimson seas. But you and all the kind of Christ are ignorant and brave, and you have wars you hardly win, and souls you hardly save. I tell you not for your comfort, yea, not for your desire, save that the sky grows darker yet, and the sea rises higher. Night shall be thrice night over you, and heaven an iron cope. Do you have joy without a cause, yea, faith without a hope? Even as she spoke, she was not, nor any word said he. He only heard, still as he stood under the old knight's nodding hood, the sea folk breaking down the wood like a high tide from sea. He only heard the heathen men, whose eyes are blue and bleak, singing about some cruel thing done by a great and smiling king in daylight on a deck. He only heard the heathen men, whose eyes are blue and blind, singing what shameful things are done between the sunlit sea and the sun when the land is left behind.